My name is Steve Jensen, and I serve as Chief Justice of the South Dakota Supreme Court. Thank you for being here today. Our country and state were founded on the principle that disputes would be settled under the law in a courtroom, not by citizens attempting to take the law into their own hands. By appearing for jury service, citizens play a vital role in fulfilling our founders' intentions that the rights and liberties we enjoy are protected through right to trial by jury. Your service here today as a potential juror means that you are directly participating in our constitutional form of government. First, your appearance ensures that a fair cross-section of the community is represented to potentially consider the case before the court. Secondly, if you are selected as a juror, you will work together with the judge to see that the case is properly decided under the law and the facts. During the trial, the judge will determine the law to be applied to the case, while you as jurors will decide the facts. But I know that your service here today is not without sacrifice. Each of you have busy lives at work and at home, and being here is at least a temporary disruption for you. The truth is, we wouldn't ask you to serve as jurors if it weren't absolutely essential to making sure that people can exercise their constitutional right to jury trial heard by citizens that live in their communities. I suspect that some of you are watching this video and have some questions, and perhaps even some hesitation about your jury service. So I believe it is important for me to properly welcome you to our court system in South Dakota, attempt to answer some of your questions, and alleviate concerns about your jury service. Our courts are made up of judges and staff who will assist you throughout the process and are available to answer any of your specific questions. We are all mindful of your time. As such, the methods we use to select jurors and present evidence in cases are designed to be as efficient as possible. But the trial experience also must be meaningful and comply with the law. And so your patience may be required from time to time as the judge makes sure that legal errors are avoided during jury selection and the trial. For this patience and for your presence and selfless sacrifice, I want to thank you personally and on behalf of our state's judicial system, including the judges, court staff, lawyers, and the people who come to court seeking resolution of their disputes.
I consider trial by jury as the only anchor ever yet imagined by man, by which government can be held to the principles of its constitution.
Our founding fathers established a government structured to create and maintain a balance of power by instituting 3 separate branches of government, each equal to the other. The legislative branch, which creates the laws, the executive branch, which enforces those laws, and the judicial branch, which resolves legal disputes. In the first 2 branches, we elect people to make decisions for us. In the judicial branch, the responsibility in many cases involving disputed facts lies with a jury, whose members are selected from our local communities. As we look around our world today, it makes us as Americans appreciate the rights we have enjoyed for over 2 centuries. The right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury is one of our most significant freedoms as Americans and South Dakotans. You have been summoned today to play an important role in this right, for, as we know, there cannot be freedom without responsibility. Your right to a jury trial is accompanied by an obligation to serve as a juror in our courtrooms. With over 60 courthouses in South Dakota that need juries to fulfill our constitutional right to trial by jury, it is important that each of us meet this obligation. Serving as a juror directly impacts the quality of life in our communities. We make decisions on behalf of every South Dakotan, not only helping to uphold our laws, but also to ensure that everyone is treated equally under the law and receives the benefit of a fair trial.
Being a juror is just as important as voting. Even though this isn't what I had planned for this week, I'm proud that I'm participating in our system of justice.
I just became a citizen 2 years ago, and it's been a very interesting process for me to have been chosen, being summoned, and selected to serve on a jury. And it's been a great experience for me so far.
It is important that our jury system reflect the cultural diversity of South Dakota. To be as representative as possible, courts randomly select jurors from a master jury list, which consists of the names of all registered voters and driver's license or state identification card holders in South Dakota. South Dakota law states that a citizen of the state who is a resident of the county where the jury is selected, 18 years or older prior to January 1st of the year of jury service, of sound mind, and who is able to read, write, and understand the English language is eligible to serve as a juror. Convicted felons can serve after their rights have been restored. If you have never served on a jury before, you may find it helpful to know more about how the jury system works. A jury usually consists of 12 jurors. However, alternate jurors may also be selected depending on the case. The jury is sworn in to hear a civil or criminal case by listening to evidence and rendering a verdict. A civil case involves legal conflicts among individuals, businesses, corporations, partnerships, and governmental entities. Civil cases involve such issues as personal injury, property damage, medical malpractice, and contract disputes. A criminal case is one in which the government accuses a person of committing a crime. The length of your jury service will vary depending upon the county, but you will be informed of your length of service when you start your service. Those who report for jury service are paid a mileage reimbursement from their residence to the courthouse and back. Those who serve on a jury trial are also paid a small daily per diem for their time.
Well, I think it gives you a sense of accomplishment. If you weren't chosen, you may say, hey, I was here all day and I wasn't even selected. But on the other hand, the jury that I served on previously, they said if I wasn't here, this case would have never been concluded.
Well, it's not every day you get to come to a courthouse to be part of a judicial process. Jury duty has given me the opportunity to experience new things, new processes, and be a part of the decision-making.
Once you arrive at the location designated on your summons, the process of jury selection begins. As you check in for jury service, you may be asked for additional information that will help the selection process go more smoothly. If you need special accommodations, please let the clerk or bailiff know ahead of time. Once you have checked in, you may be randomly assigned to a trial. If so, you will be escorted to a courtroom. Arriving in the courtroom, you will be introduced to the following people: the judge who sits on the bench and will preside over the case, witnesses who will give testimony about the case, the court reporter who records everything that is spoken, the courtroom clerk who creates a summary of the trial proceedings and marks all evidence presented, and the bailiff who helps the judge attend to the jury and escorts jurors within the courthouse. In some cases, you may also be introduced to a court interpreter who will assist someone involved in the case who does not speak or understand English. In a civil case, the plaintiff is the person who has brought the case against another person or entity, known as the defendant. In a criminal case, the plaintiff's attorney is the prosecutor who represents the government and has accused a person, referred to as the defendant, of committing a criminal offense. All parties to a case have a right to be represented by licensed attorneys and assist them with the presentation of their case and present argument on their behalf. You will be introduced to the parties and their attorneys during jury selection. Oaths are very important during trials. For jurors, they impart a solemn obligation to act fairly and according to the law, including honesty in answering questions about their suitability for jury service. For witnesses, an oath represents a commitment to testify truthfully. Either a judge, a clerk, or a court reporter will administer the oath to jurors and witnesses. As a juror, you will sit in the jury box during the trial, but will go to the jury deliberation room with the other jurors when it is time to review the evidence and reach a verdict.
All rise.
When your name is drawn for a trial, prospective jurors are sworn to truthfully answer all questions asked of them regarding their qualifications to serve as a juror. Generally, the judge will then introduce him or herself and tell you a little about the case to be heard, including the anticipated length of the trial. The actual jury selection process begins when prospective jurors are asked questions by the judge and lawyers. All questions are designed to determine whether jurors can be fair and impartial. This process is called voir dire.
Your Honor, I used to work with the defendant.
When a juror is excused, it simply means that in that particular case, there is lawful and proper reason to excuse the juror. Many of those who appear for jury service are not chosen to hear a case, but their presence, availability, and participation is essential to the administration of justice by the courts. Sometimes during the course of jury selection, prospective jurors are asked to wait in the jury assembly room, deliberation room, or even the hallways. The reasons for those delays are not always explained, but they might be due to legal issues that the lawyers must discuss privately with the judge. Sometimes a case may even be settled right before the jury trial begins because of these discussions.
Your Honor,
Yes, counsel.
I would like to recall the last witness.
If selected as a juror, you will encounter each of 4 steps in a jury trial. The judge's preliminary instructions are given to jurors. Your judge will provide you detailed instructions for the case you're about to hear. These will include what you can and cannot do. The trial, which includes opening statements by counsel, presentation of evidence, such as witness, testimony, and any documents involved, and closing arguments by counsel. You will also receive the judge's final instructions on the law. Then you'll be sent to the jury deliberation room to begin consideration of the case. The jury will start by selecting a foreperson to oversee the process. The verdict is the final step in a trial. When the jurors have come to a decision, the foreperson will inform the bailiff or clerk, who will read the verdict in the courtroom.
The clerk will now read the verdict. We, the jury, duly impaneled and sworn in the above entitled case, do find...
During the trial, there are some specific rules of conduct you must observe. Make sure your cell phone or any other electronic device, such as watches, etc., are turned off or in silent mode. Do not discuss the case or make any comments about the case on any social media sites during the trial. Be on time for all court sessions. Listen to every question and answer. If for any reason you cannot hear a question or answer, raise your hand and tell the judge or bailiff. Do not conduct an independent investigation. Perform web searches on any of the parties, places, or people, or physically visit any of the places involved in the case, or conduct any independent research or search the parties' social media sites. Control your emotions. Do not express any reaction, either facial or vocal, to indicate how evidence or a trial incident has affected you. Do not talk to anyone about the case or those involved in the case, such as the parties, witnesses, or the lawyers. And do not let anyone talk to you about it until the trial is over. Do not read or listen to any newspaper or internet stories. Watch or listen to any television, radio, or web broadcast about the case. Do not post to social media about the case until after a verdict is returned. Once your jury service is complete, you may talk about jury service, or you may choose not to talk about your juror experience. To make it easier for you to follow the proceedings, you may take notes and use them during deliberation.
I hope this information has helped clarify the jury process for you. But I know you have received a lot of information in a short amount of time. So please don't be afraid to ask the court staff if you have any questions. If you report for jury service, but you are not ultimately selected to serve on the jury for a particular case, you need to understand that you still provided a valuable service to our community. I'm not overstating anything when I say that we simply could not do the work as a court system without each one of you. Thank you for stepping up and for serving in this important process.